line here today? Okay, excellent. And you have the attendance, Tara, for roll call?
Yes.
Excellent. I will look for a mover and a seconder of the approval from the previous minutes from July 21st that Tara had sent out. Did anyone, first of all, have any questions regarding that or concerns in what they saw in the minutes? No? Okay, Lawrence to move. And a seconder. Richard. Okay, and all in favor of passing those minutes? Awesome. Does anyone today have a declaration of pecuniary interest with regards to the agenda? All good. Travis and Richard, I'll look to you guys for a financial update.
Go ahead, Travis. I didn't really look at that.
Okay, so Richard, I'm going to give a quick update with respect to KPMG as well. I don't know if you want to speak to that, but I just thought about it right now, but just to let the board know that we are prepping, working with KPMG to prep proper year-end financial statements.
Yeah, so we were hopeful that we would have at least a draft for this meeting, but that's obviously not happening. Lots of vacation time is happening now. So, but anyways, it will show a comparative financial statement. We were incorporated in June of 2021, so it will show 6 months of operations for 21, and obviously, am I getting that right? Sorry, June of 20. So 6 months of June of June 20, all of 2021, which will show our surplus at that point in time. It will also have as a notes to the financial statement whatever commitments we have made in 2021. So, and then we'll be using that on a going forward basis. What we're trying to do, so for a monthly, or at least this is my hope, is that we will have a financial statement that will look like the budget that Travis completed and we approved, so that we will show expenses against each of the budget line items. Right now, we're not getting that from Christine, but it's easy enough for us to retweak it, and so that will have again for our September meetings. Is that good enough, Travis?
Yeah, absolutely. And just on that, well, somewhat related, staff at the city have been requested to start prepping our budgets for next year. So I'm just going to start pulling it together for Tourism Sault Ste. Marie, and we'll likely present it to the board maybe as early as October. Sorry, go ahead, Richard.
And the other thing I forgot to mention is and I think Alana, I think she told me, or maybe Tara's got it. Somebody has put together all of our TDF, and we're going to have a list of what we've done. So, and I think that needs to come before the board next meeting as well. Okay.
Yeah. So on that, we have about $167,000 currently sitting in the TDF. So that's where we're at right now. And I did have that list, but I think I left it on my desk downstairs. So we can send that out to the board as well in advance of the next meeting. So getting to the numbers as of July 31st, 2022, in terms of MAT transfers to date for 2022, there's 409,460. The advertising revenue that we've had as a result of the travel guide, we've got 29,300, and sundry revenue of 2,500. So total revenue for this year is 441,284, And total expenses so far are 423,111. And then assets in the bank are 1.2 million in change, and liabilities and surplus are 102 and change. So we're tracking pretty well. We're going to start seeing payment for Q3 and Q4 shortly. So there will be where we're going to be at roughly 820,000 in MAT transfers for the rate of total cumulatively for 2022. And on that, in terms of MAT collections so far, so this is up to June, we've collected $578,931. And when you compare that to the first 6 months of 2019, we're currently sitting about $56,000 above what we collected in 2019. So it's looking promising. I did, fingers crossed this will come to fruition, but I looked at the averages over the past couple of years for July through September. And if we collect similar amounts, we'll be somewhere between 1 million to 1.1 million by the end of September. And on that, I know I've heard a lot of positive news from the hoteliers, but wouldn't mind getting a quick little update in terms of what you guys are seeing in terms of bookings, over the next couple of months.
I certainly expect to see that number go up over what we collected for that period in 2019. I mean, you see it across the board with all of the hotels. ADRs are up there, which means that we're collecting more per night, which is a higher MAT collection. Certainly the occupancy levels seem to be there from everything that's indicated my way, and from my team going, I've called everybody and they all say they're sold out. So, I would certainly expect to see those numbers for Q3 to definitely be higher. If anyone else wants to weigh in on that.
I'll second that, Bev. It's wild too, Travis. Some of the travel patterns at our hotel seem to be less people booking ahead of time and more maybe 1 or 2 day booking window. And then I'll walk in, I'll look at my forecast for the day. We've got 40 rooms left to sell. I'll wake up in the morning and it'll be sold out. Like, we're picking up 30 to 40 rooms a night here downtown, and at rates which I actually had to go into the back end of our system and adjust the ceilings so that I could put in higher rates to charge. I've never seen anything like it as far as rates in the Sioux goes, which is good for everybody, especially the MAT collection.
The other thing I would add too, I was talking to our franchise people, and it seems to be not just here in the Sioux, but all over Northern Ontario. And prices, even in the markets that were traditionally higher than our market, we're kind of bridging the gap, in terms of ADRs. I think we were traditionally always probably 20-25% lower than, say, Sudbury or Thunder Bay.
Sudbury was definitely $15 to $20 easily.
And I know he was telling me, he goes, yeah, it seems like all the Northern Ontario properties under the Wyndham brand anyway are showing stronger performance than, say, some of the big markets like Toronto and stuff like that. And I don't know if that's just people trying to get away from the big cities, but according to what they've told me is, we should be tracking for record year. Demand is still strong as we go into the slower season. So we'll see how it goes.
And what are your thoughts in terms of holding, maybe not the upper tier rates, but holding rates above historically what they were? Like, I know we can't collectively direct that, but what's the sense from the people on this call? Do you see that continuing into the future, or?
I hope we don't all panic come Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know we've always, years past, even as the whatever tourism partners, when we were EMF, we periodically talk about holding rates and stuff like that. The way things are, it's a heck of a lot easier. I think personally, we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we go backwards. I think we know we could reasonably predict on a normal year what's going to come into the market. And sometimes, I understand competitive environments and everybody's trying to do well for their properties and stuff like that. But there's always the outlier that starts cutting rates to attract a greater piece, and then you kind of get into that spiral.
Yeah.
I've resisted the last couple of years myself. I can't speak about everybody else. And I would say, and I'm probably preaching to the choir here with the other hoteliers, there's no reason, no justifiable reasons why we should be cutting rate as we go into the off season.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Nick, back to your comment and just opening this up again to the hoteliers, so are we seeing those, the 40 rooms that are being filled? Is there a really strong trend with cross Canada traffic, or, are we seeing any new trends in terms of travel?
For us, it seems to be either people are coming from the south up north and they need a stopping point before going across, or vice versa. But unfortunately, these people are very transient. They're not choosing to put together a 3-night stay on a whim. It is just sort of, we need a place to stop for the night and moving on through. The other people that are on the books for overnight stays, like multi-night stays, are here to experience the city in our area for sure. But these same day pickups are, unfortunately, they're not hanging around very long.
Okay.
And one pattern I've noticed too is we're slowly starting to see the trickle of our American friends making their way across the borders. Not obviously to the extent they have in the past, pre-pandemic, but you are starting to, for the first time in July, I think it was the first time in, I don't know, many years that I actually saw American currency.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
so you're starting to see some people getting more comfortable or getting used to using the ArriveCan app, that kind of stuff, and starting to trickle across, especially people that have properties in this area or lodges or whatever it is. You're starting to see more and more of them, and they're starting to bring their people back up.
Good. Is everybody else seeing similar trends? Go ahead, Kelly.
I just wanted to mention that it's always a lot easier to drive that average rate at a time like this when the occupancy is there. And I guess, to come to this table, it's just so important that we drive those events in the off season as well to continue with that momentum. In terms of maintaining that average rate, I think we have to look at our value equation and ensure that it aligns. We're not looking to sabotage our business by overpricing, but at the same time, we do want that healthy revenue, that healthy average rate. That is the name of the game. So yeah, definitely running, 98 to 100% occupancy. Some days 101% occupancy, which is amazing over the last several weeks, and anticipating that will carry through the fall. And wouldn't it be great if we could do that for the rest of the year as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, I think we're also too seeing the uptick in terms of visitors coming from the States as well. We're doing I think we've done maybe 6 of the education tours for the bus tours, and they're coming in from all over the States through Road Scholars. So that's actually, and apparently the program that we're putting on is considered amongst the leaders as being the most looked towards or looked for. And they're going to be building that up as they go on. So we're talking to them about the residential school, and then bringing them over to Shingwak, Kinamagagamik, to talk to them about reconciliation, essentially. So there, we're kind of doing this tour, and it's kind of growing. But then we're also getting Americans that are coming in to specifically learn about the real history of Indigenous people, and especially now, that this information is out. So I'm seeing that there's an interest from the Americans, because their whole dynamic of how they, how the relationship between the American Indians has been, they're about probably 30 or plus years behind us in terms of where they are. So they're really interested in what it is that the relationship between Canada and our Indigenous people as well. So that being said, yeah, we're seeing an uptick, and we're anticipating this is going to just completely grow as we get more traction in that area.
That's great to hear. Really good, promising. Okay, unless there's anything else, Beverly, I can hop into staff update.
Be my guest, Travis. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So I'll hit just some of the key points here. So we've obviously been working quite closely with Watco, both on the marketing side and on the tracking the bookings. To date, so there's been a really solid increase week over week in terms of the bookings. We're seeing numbers, roughly 1,000 passengers per week and growing. So we've been tracking compared to, the August through October timeframe. The last detailed information that we had on that was from 2018. And currently they're sitting at about 80%, just over 80% of those numbers, which, I think in speaking with Watco, they're happy about. I mean, we're definitely feeling the impact of ArriveCan. We've noticed that on the cruise ships in terms of, those that land in Sioux, Michigan. We're not getting as many of them over into Sioux, Canada. So I think, those are really great numbers, very optimistic, and they're continuing to sell. So hopefully we can, bump that up, a bit higher before the end of the season.
And Travis, let's also note on that like the marketing and the pricing and the ticket sales were very late out of the gate on that. We fielded so many calls through February, April, May before they really got things going, that the fact that they're hitting 80% is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, and quite honestly, like, I'm quite pleased to hear that Watco is content with where the sales are at. So I think I've mentioned, they've been a good partner, and hopefully we can continue to build that relationship on a go-forward basis. The other one, you guys may have seen the Sioux Today articles, or last night we did a CTV interview. The tour boat is now operational as of this Monday. So it's been great to see on the waterfront. They've had most of their 7 p.m. bookings are full for an extended period of time, which is great to hear. We're trying to work with them to infill. They've got tours at 1 p.m. Looking to infill those times. But, I think very optimistic, given that it's, they're midway through the first week and they have a significant amount of bookings. They currently got their application out there for their liquor license. I think, that'll be another big incentive for people once that's available. I met on Monday. I was out at Searchmount, met with the owner and operational staff out at the Hill. Things are looking very promising. They appear to be on track for all of the upgrades that they're putting in place. Still working on the chalets, but the Hill itself is, I think, going to be really well positioned with all lifts. They're targeting to have all lifts operational and some increased snowmaking capability. So knock on wood, we'll have a great year there. And we're going to be working with them on winter marketing. We're going to circle back with them towards the end of September. So
I was going to ask about something too. I know previously they would give us the vouchers at the hotel to make our own packages, so to speak. I know we're trying to drive everything through to the tourism website. Is it something that we could ask?
Absolutely. And I thank you for bringing that up. It's a great, it's one of those pieces that probably dropped off our radar. So we'll bring that up with their staff. They've got the new GM is from Horseshoe down in Southern Ontario around Barrie. So, you know, I think quite an experienced individual, really customer service focused, which is, you know, I think a huge part there. So
Because I remember previously we would always kind of use it as a, you know, whether to entice somebody to extend their stay, like, you know, as soon as I see skis, I talk to the people, right?
Yeah.
In the winter, you know, where are you going?
Yeah.
You cross country, you downhill, you know, because I know, I want to say Hiawatha and Stokely used to do something similar too.
Yeah.
Where they would, you know, let us sell certain passes at the property level. And
Yeah.
sometimes, I don't know what the other hotels' experience are with it, but I know for us, because we're, like, especially Microtel is way up on the highway, you know, and now people, you know, I don't know how they're going to groom the new hub trail that connects to Hiawatha, but, you know, we do have people that stop with their bikes that take the hub trail there now.
Yeah.
And so again, just trying to use an opportunity to say, hey, why don't you stay an extra day? I'll give you a good rate and I can sell you a discounted pass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely something we'll bring up with, we'll bring it up with Hiawatha Islands and Stokely as well.
And I mean, I don't know what the appetite would be for our group to maybe subsidize some of that for them so that they're not, you know, like, I mean, it's incremental sales for them, but saying like, you know, okay, for whatever, every pass the hotel sells, will, you know, we can subsidize that for a certain bit. I mean, I'm sure it'd be something that we would have to discuss as a board, but just throwing it out there as a way to kind of try to engage people as they come through our doors, with connecting them to those attractions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, good. Okay, just back to my list. And the other piece that we discussed last meeting is we do have a draft letter for Algoma Steel. We know that there's obviously, I'm sure everybody's aware of the labor issues that they're dealing with right now. So I'm going to set up a meeting to talk to them first prior to sending the letter, because just don't want it to get lost in the noise, because they're obviously dealing with some pretty significant and time sensitive issues there. But,
that's relating to the open discussion on last month's meeting that Lawrence brought up.
Yeah, so we've reached out to all the tour operators regarding, you know, the impacts that they've had, and now it's the next step was to bring that to the attention of Algoma Steel to see, you know, what action they would potentially take. And that concludes staff update, I believe.
All right. Under new business, we have tourism update as well. Is that different information, Travis?
You know what? I think that was just accidentally put twice.
Okay. I can speak to, I had a conversation with Alana earlier this week with regards to the STR reports that we had previously approved. I can update the board that all of the contracts have been signed and are in place. They are starting to put together the data, and Alana is working with the city with regards to the best way to distribute those reports to the board with confidentiality and those kind of things. So Alana is currently working on that. And once we have more information, you guys will start seeing those reports.
And I don't know if this is, sorry. I just wanted to see if we could, or if it would be better at the end of the meeting. I do want to add an item for us to discuss.
Okay.
In regards to ArriveCan, I know I've been pretty active with the Hotel Association of Canada, and they're a lobby group.
Yeah.
And one of the big things that they're lobbying for is get federal government to scrap the ArriveCan to make travel easier. I was wondering if we can discuss as a group, maybe either approaching or inviting Terry Sheehan to come in, or send a letter to Terry to add our voice of saying, you know, it's time to rethink ArriveCan or restructure ArriveCan to make travel easier. Because, I mean, you said it yourself, Travis, you know, one of the big things for especially American visitors in our market is either lack of awareness or they don't know how to navigate the app, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And it adds one more barrier for us working on attracting travelers, especially American travelers, back into our market. So I was wondering, I don't know if there's an appetite from the board to do that. I just want to put it out there for discussion, see what people are thinking about, whether it's something that's worthwhile pursuing or not.
I certainly wouldn't have a problem looking at it. I know that with everything that's been going on here, I haven't had a look recently at what Hack is doing or where their position on things are at. I can do some more reading that way, and I would certainly say that it's worth us exploring putting out our voice with regards to that. I don't know if everyone on the board agrees with scrapping ArriveCan or is in a neutral position or thinks that it's the best thing since sliced bread. But I certainly think that it could be worth a conversation, Dawn.
I stand behind your point there, Dawn. I don't quite understand the purpose of ArriveCan. Perhaps at one time it had some good intentions behind it, but I feel like it's, you know, it's really put a restriction on the free flow of people coming and going between US and Canada. And also for the Canadian citizens that are, you know, staying with us locally that want to head across the river and come back again. I know they're being threatened with $5,000 fines, and we're hearing about that a lot when they do make it back to our property. I spent an hour trying to get a customer set up yesterday with the ArriveCan app for a similar transaction between going across the river and back again. Nonetheless, it was like really not truly understanding the whole purpose and intention behind the app. Is it making us safer? I don't believe it is. So yeah, I would definitely support your approach there, Don.
And just to add, when I was out at Searchmount, that's definitely a concern. You know, so you have our largest, arguably our largest winter attraction, very concerned about the impact to American visitation as a result of that.
For sure. I mean, we can free flow, we can head over to the States without an issue, but to come back to our home country is a problem. And just imagine, you know, how that feels for someone not from the area. They're not going to want to do that, you know, so then they find somewhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll give credit to the Canada Border Patrol, because they aren't just necessarily turning people around. They just say, okay, go park over there, download the app, fill it out. But I mean, still, that's a pain in the butt, right? So, you know, I mean, if we're back to traditional bridge volumes, the lineup would be, it would snarl downtown here. Who knows how far down the I-75 that lineup would be if everybody had to stop and download the app. So
Yeah.
It's a pain point. Let's put it out. It's a pain point, and I don't know. I know us in the hotel business, we're very sensitive to pain points because we're always working to minimize or eliminate the pain points for our guests. This is a big one, especially in our market where we can, I know we spent a lot of money in advertising and marketing and stuff in Southern Ontario because we couldn't market to the Americans, but we're kind of cutting off a big market for ourselves by not being able to do that. Lobbying or lending our voice, getting the ear of our representative to kind of take our concerns back, as tourism is a big part of our economy here in Sault Ste. Marie. I feel strongly towards it. And I guess I just going out there and asking the board to, lend our voice, collective voices as an organization, not just as hoteliers or individual businesses.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Perhaps it's the same vein as safety and security in our community as well. We can lobby them for both.
Any other comments with regards to that?
Well, I'm wondering if there's like a phasing system that we can suggest to them so that they don't fully scrap it, but maybe minimize it so that it's something that is something that they could be easily processed and because when we went across and back, it was pretty foreboding as we had to go down the list. It was probably a good 30 questions. So just minimizing that to just the most pertinent things to make it flow quicker. I mean, that would be like a phase, and then it would be phase out sort of after that. That might be a suggestion that'll help them sort of wrap their heads around it.
I guess my perspective is the actual app is the barrier, and the request for that, whether it's proof of vaccination or what have you, is the actual barrier. Because now you're asking, hypothetically speaking, you've got, somebody contemplating either going or coming over to Searchmount. They might be like, okay, the skiing's better at Searchmount, but I've got this added layer of research that I have to do, and it's just easier for me to go to Boyne. And I think I would like to see it scrapped altogether. And that's my personal opinion. But I think that we need to open the borders back up if we're going to, see some growth, or at least return our visitation from the U.S. to historic levels. That's one opinion. So
if they require some sort of information or like tracking or whatever it is it something that they can't easily get through like some sort of kiosk? Maybe a person could, either reach out and tap it to say yes, yes, no, sort of thing. I mean, instead of installing an app. I mean, there's other approaches, similar to say what A&W does to grade our service type thing. Is that, I mean, if they need to require that information and for people not to actually install something on their own devices, maybe they had a device out there that'll make it quicker. I mean, if they are absolutely not, they need that information, or they need to have that go or that no go. That might be another approach to it.
Travis, when is Alana back?
She'll be back next week.
Okay, so maybe I can have a touch point with you and Alana next week. We'll see where HAC's recommendations and where their lobbying is at, and then they may even have something that we can work from there that we can then put back out to the board. Yeah,
they have sample letters, sample emails that you can send to your member of parliament. It's just a matter of, like, I know the one that they sent me was just I fill in my name, and really I don't think that the body necessarily of what we're saying in there matters, more so the volume, so that they can see. How politicians are, right? It's all about seeing what kind of support, and they want to support things that the majority of the people are feeling. So I think, as individuals, we can certainly do that. But I mean, I just thought as the tourism board, representing a broader slice of the market, if we lend our voices to it and get in Terry Sheehan's ear, to say that this is an important issue, and an important issue hindering the recovery of our industry and stuff like that, maybe we can get some extra action on it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing that forward, Don. Travis, Lock Tours came under the staff update, I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so we do have two Tourism Development Fund applications in front of us today. We will, I guess, start with the Ontario Baseball Tournament.
1 second here.
Behind the.
We're just going to do it in open because we're just doing a summary, so no official business plan.
Excellent. All right. The Ontario Baseball Association has collaborated with Sault Ste. Marie's Minor Baseball Association to bring the U13 Boys Provincial Championships to our community. This will be the first Ontario Baseball Association sanctioned sporting event at Sault Ste. Marie in 30 years. Based on tournament projections, we're looking at having 680 visitors over 4 days for an economic impact of $408,000. The OBA has a dedicated social media following, just under 10,000 people on 3 platforms, which is, with very professional graphics and photos taken at each location, which is pertinent to this application because having Sault Ste. Marie's fields in view of families and baseball enthusiasts at the provincial level is important, as there's a high opportunity for repeat hosting with the association, with hopes that the U15 Girls Championships will be hosted in Sault Ste. Marie in 2023. In regards to the budget, the event is managed by a non-for-profit association wherein registration fees for all tournaments and championships play is built into initial registration for players at the start of each season. So functioning similar to, say, the Jumpstart program, giving skilled players exposure to the sport past the rec level, regardless of their socioeconomic position. They've indicated inside of their budget expenses of approximately $5,100. Putting the tournament through the TDF matrix assessment, it scored very high in regards to visitor days, while all other categories were hovering somewhere inside of the middle, i.e. Out-of-town participation, opportunity for growth for each of the event. We know that something like the opportunity for growth isn't very high because it's a tournament-based event with the same amount of teams participating in a regular basis. So that being said, the scoring for OBA landed at 52, putting it inside of the category of 40 to 59 points, which is $5,000 plus. It should be noted of these funds requested, approximately $1,200 goes into upgrades to our own facilities. So as far as staff analysis goes, similar to the Ontario Basketball Association tournament or the Ontario Youth Championships hosted this year with the Soufinish Ski Club, this event is self-sufficient, requires very little staff time. Good host community reputation, as well as above adequate facility, lends to better possibilities of Sault Ste. Marie being chosen to host the OBAs in the future and on a recurring basis. These events are regularly available for bid and tour the province with multiple divisions available annually. So as mentioned, with a score of 52 in the matrix, this does align with the TDF event request in the $5,000 plus category, whereas in the Ontario Baseball Association requested $3,500. So staff recommends that the board of directors considering funding the Ontario Baseball Association's maximum request of $3,500.
Thanks, Josh. Do we have any questions to direct towards Josh here with regards to this, or concerns, comments in favor of?
Comments in favor of with regards to the multiple day event for the baseball provincial championships. That's a huge win. I vote in favor.
Lauren?
I just have a question. Is this to be held down in Strathclair? Is that the venue?
Yes, that's right.
So I'm new to baseball this year, and my son has been enjoying it all summer, and I certainly have been enjoying it. And knowing nothing about baseball, is having more trees in the seating area, does that affect or impact baseball, like the visual? Does it do anything? Does anybody know?
Are you asking about shade structures, Lawrence? Like,
Shade structures, yeah.
yeah, I know I have to put sunscreen on the top of my head, so I'm assuming you got the same issues. But yeah, I mean, if I don't know the actual answer, but if in facilities improvements as a general, I mean, certainly our team could do a bit of research there to see if there's, in terms of attracting larger events, if there's potential investments that might assist with us attracting larger or more frequent events. We could certainly look into that.
Yeah, I'd be happy
It certainly would be nice to have some more, either, they don't even have to be man-made, just the occasional tree in the outfield. It's so nice to be able to sit underneath a tree if you can find them, but they're few and far between. And it would also cut down on the wind in the early spring and fall, which makes it quite cold in there.
Strathclair is very well known for their winds. Just look at the trees that are there. You can see which way the wind blows.
They also help catch the ball as well. And you just have to stand under and catch it. Like, it's going to be a lot easier for those people as well.
Just a general comment is the umpires for these games, are they local or coming from out of town?
Richard, they're going to be a combination of both. They're going to need more than the Sioux Minor Baseball Association has. So there'll be a few that are brought in.
Because right now you read so many negative comments on what's happening with umpires. That's why I asked.
Yeah, no, the Minor Baseball Association is using their network as well as others or league networks. But being in Labor Day, you have a lot of holidays as well. So they just haven't been able to completely fulfill the requirements they need for all 4 days worth of time slots. So we've reached out to our locals first and foremost, and from there we'll be filling gaps in.
Nick?
Just to speak from Lawrence, my baseball experience, I was in the system from like 7 years old until 23, not here, but my mom had this hat that had an umbrella on it. And basically,
sales of that would be amazing.
I witnessed, some ballparks are better than others with ambiance in the outfield or around. Trees would definitely enhance everything 100%. But most of these parents are pretty hardcore, and they're willing to set up their own shop with whether it's a beach umbrella or the umbrella hat and coolers. I mean, I don't think it would deter anybody to not have trees. But from the events perspective, I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's just a small ask from us, and the potential of bringing back the ladies next year to grow this sport in the Sioux. I'm all for it. I really like this bid.
Okay, I think we're all in a positive direction here. So I'll go ahead and read the resolution as it stands if there was no other comments or questions for Josh with regards to the application. Okay, so the resolution would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommend a contribution up to $3,500 through the Tourism Development Fund, Conferences and Special Events stream to support the Ontario Baseball Association Provincial Championships to be held September 1st to 4th, 2022, and that a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover? Kelly? Nick second? And call for a vote on all in favor. And motion carried. Okay, excellent. Thanks, guys. Next resolution on the docket is a TDF application for Octoberfest.
All right. Octoberfest is a 2-day Volksfest Bavarian cultural event spotlighting culinary tourism, live music, and interactive German-based competition and program. Now in its second year, the event is pivoting from being a solely community-based event to an emerging tourism product. With a sold-out attendance of 300 for a one-evening event in 2021, the organizers have now expanded the event to be a 2-evening event with a goal of 725 attendees. Marketing will target regional attendees and potentially the Upper Peninsula while ignoring the Southern Ontario market as to not compete with beer-focused events in that area. Traditionally, Oktoberfest themed events occur in September. However, strategically, this event will be held mid-October following the Agawam Canyon tour season and aligning with one of Tourism Sault Ste. Marie's priority sectors, shoulder season tourism activation. Their goal is to attract 125 visitors who will be overnight guests with 550 community attendees for an economic impact of just under $19,000. A conservative 125 weekend passes to be predominantly regional audiences. Oktoberfest is specifically asking for $5,000 with a plan to utilize 40% of this funding to promote the event via targeted social media advertising. Additionally, the event will leverage culinary tourism influencers for blog, vlog pieces, etc. The scoring matrix put the Tdf application at 40, which is a 40 to 59 segment, which is $5,000 plus. The original application from the event organizers demonstrates attainable numbers as well as a growth strategy for increased visitor stays year over year. The organizing committee have a track record for both quality community or for quality community events, excuse me. And it has been denoted inside of the application that projected profits of this event will be reinvested into the next year's event. Organizers of this emerging tourism products have designed a multi-year growth strategy for attracting tourists to the event. In 2022, they have expanded the programming and have added an additional day with plans to increase the event from 2 to 3 days in 2023, as well as introduce an additional VIP ticket tier with enhanced programming for this category. Year over year, the event shifts from a predominantly community-based attendance to a more visitor-specific focus. With a score of 40, staff is recommending that the board of directors consider a funding recommendation of a maximum of $5,000.
Thank you, Josh. And just to confirm, their ask was for 5,000, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we know what their intention for the funding is? Is it mostly marketing that they're looking for? Is it entertainment support?
It's 40%. It's a roughly 40% marketing, as well as helping lessen the burden of the cost of additional programming that's needed to run a 2-day event less than a 1-day event.
Okay.
I don't know if I mentioned it inside of the application that I was reading, but the event organizers have added more programming, more interactive activity, incentivization for purchasing weekend passes, such as if you purchase a weekend pass, your Stein then comes with more fill-ups than less. They've expanded their beer garden to about a third more of the size. What I really like about this application, if I can, one of my focuses is building homegrown events that eventually don't need financial support or tourism support while we still funding it. What I really like about this is the matrix in regards to their numbers of people they're attracting this year. It is really attainable. I see a lot of first-time applications have kind of some inflated numbers, and these ones, there was really an attention to detail in regards to who they were bringing in. So I think it's fair to say that if a homegrown event needs 5 years to get off the ground, that this is a very good first step. Last year, there was no targeting for tourists. So to see that, pivot to that attention, and then to see that percentage of attendees be tourists more inside of the pie chart year over year, I think it's a really smart way of going about building this event to a tourism product and not just a community event.
Thank you for those thoughts, Josh. Do we have other questions, comments, concerns from the board?
I just have one question and one comment. The question, do the VIP passes come with your own leader hose? Or is that in the works?
That might be year 3 or 4. I'd have to ask event organizers.
No, the only reason I say that, I went to school at Wilfrid Laurier University in Kitchener-Waterloo, which has probably one of the biggest Oktoberfest celebrations outside of Germany. And let me tell you, they're a good time. Yeah. Whether you're German or not, I know they have a club there. It's called the Concordia Club. And they put up a structure for Octoberfest, like our casino, like it's just a tent that they put up. And man, they got tables down that thing and they keep bringing out food and it's fantastic.
Where Kitchener Waterloo?
Kitchener Waterloo.
Thank you.
Concordia, 'cause I think it's kind of similar to when Marconi was here. It's like a German club.
Right.
And they have the whole thing. They bring in bands like those Octoberfest polka bands from Germany and stuff. It's something different, like, you know, to experience it. So to kind of try to do something like I mean, obviously, you know, the ambition would be to have a good festival and stuff like that. I don't know if we'll get to that size, but I do believe that because of the nature of the type of festival and experiencing it, I do believe that it can grow to a regional event where we'll bring in people. I really do. And it's nice to keep it in late October because it's still not too bad out.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, people still travel. You don't have to worry about snowstorms and stuff like that. But like, you know, it'd be great to see it take off.
And quite honestly, like, no matter where you're driving from, if you're attending this event,
Yeah.
you're probably not driving home.
No.
So, you know, you're you know,
Overnight stays are
even if
required.
it's, you know, Blind River, you know, Bruce Mines, what have you, you're likely going to stay in the Sioux. So
I love
we
the
know-
I love the date. I love the date, like just the perfect time where most camps are closed, and the train is done. People will be looking for something to do. It was a beautiful night last year, and I was there. And I wanted to stay even later. Had prior commitments the next day, which I had to drive home. But Travis and I were in the Stein holding competition where you hold a beer out that's full as long as you can, and one by one they dropped off and dropped off and dropped off, and I think I have some sort of arthritis in my elbow now from hanging on as long as I possibly could. And
You need to be training.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
I know I should be training. I wasn't ready. But
Whatever
I
that
love-
training regime is, I want to be part of it.
I love the event. I got a chance to sit down with Josh and Travis at the table there, and we were just talking about how great it was and the vibe. There's definitely a vibe behind this event, and it could certainly steamroll a day two, and I think in a best case scenario, a third day as well, with more bands and more more activities that are happening. And I did purchase Dawn a lederhosen outfit for this year, and it was only like $50 on Amazon. So I'm ready already.
All right. Kelly?
I love the city activation for this and giving our visitors something fun to do, new and fun. I just wondered if there was an opportunity for hoteliers to be able to assist in ticket sales for events like this.
That's a wonderful thing to suggest. Absolutely. I think that's something that we should maybe be working into. I don't know if the model, but that should be something inside of an internal checklist when it comes to
And
talking.
you know what, Kelly, too, last year I work with Outspoken for UTSC, and Caitlin told us that it was a matter of days. They launched the social post, and then 3 days tickets sold out. Like, we might not even have a chance to sell tickets as hoteliers, but yeah, I'd be open to it as well if they needed another avenue for or channel for it, for
And
sure.
Kelly,
But-
I'll happily bring that back to the organizers and let them know that there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, for sure. That's pretty exciting, Nick. If it's selling out that quickly, that's amazing. But it not just for this event, but all the events. I mean, we have 80,000 people in our community roughly, and to see some more community support around all of the events that we are hosting would be amazing. And I know it helps our frontline leaders feel more involved. And when we're speaking to these events, it obviously gives them more knowledge and encourages return visitors in advance of the actual event too. So yeah, something to think about.
Awesome. Okay. We can move forward with the resolution here. The resolution would read, be it resolved that Tourism Sault Ste. Marie recommend a contribution up to $5,000 through the Tourism Development Fund, Conferences and Special Event Stream to support Octoberfest being held October 14th and 15th, 2022, and that a report be submitted to City Council for consideration and approval. Do I have a mover for this resolution? Lawrence?
Little hand, no. No.
And Kelly as a seconder. And I will call for a vote for those in favor of this resolution. Okay, motion carried. And that is the 2 TDFs that we had for today and all that I had on the agenda. I will note that the date for the next meeting on the agenda was incorrect. It should be listed as September the 15th at 12 noon.
Beverly, I have one last thing to add.
One last thing. Okay, Travis.
Yeah, so not sure if everybody's aware, but one of our board members was recently, managed to win a very prominent award locally here. And so I'd like to acknowledge Richard Walker and his house as a Ward 2 Beautification Award winner. So congratulations, Richard. Keep up the good work. Best luck next year.
Thanks for that, Travis. Did anybody else have any comments here before we adjourn for the day? All right, excellent. Thank you very much for all of your time today, guys. I'm really excited about the work that this board has been doing and the direction that we are moving Tourism Sault Ste. Marie and Sault Ste. Marie as a whole, working towards that goal of a year-round destination. And I think that we've done some really great work in the last little while, and I'm looking forward to the next few months. Have a great day, all.
Have a good day, everybody.
Take care.